Hello everyone and welcome to today's show with sportsbookreview.com. I'm your host Lee Martin, joined again today by the man himself, David Manyun. Today we're going to take a first look into the UFC Fight Night main card, Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo. But before we get into any UFC talk, like always, give us a like and subscribe to our channel. That way you never miss a show. Now let's get to it. How are you doing today, Dave?
I'm great, Lee. Thank you. You guys might be getting sick of me, but we're back again. It's another fight night. Not as entertaining as the UFC 250 pay-per-view that was witnessed on Saturday, but the females are taking over again. So we have Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo headlining the fight night card, which I do believe will be back at the Apex again. And we have a multitude of female fights on that card. There's 2 or 3 female fights on this card. So for all you female MMA fans, it will be a good one this week.
Yep, it's going to be a great one. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to take a look at the odds via BetOnline right now. Currently, Jessica Eye is -105 and Cynthia Calvillo is -115. How do you feel about those odds? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Just give me your take on those odds.
Yeah, well, we haven't had these odds for all that long. I think they've been up for around 2 weeks. We haven't saw much line movement, but the significant movement that we have saw is Jessica Eye going from the favourite. I think she opened at -135 and Cynthia Calvillo opened at +115, I believe. It sounds about right, in my opinion. We have a girl in Cynthia Calvillo who only has 1 loss on her record, but the level of competition that she's fought is nowhere near up to the scratch of what Jessica Eye has fought. So realistically, I'd pit Jessica Eye as the slight favourite as she originally opened, and I think that was the correct line. The line we're seeing now, the pick'em, you can actually get -110 both sides at 5 dimes. That's the public putting that there because nobody really knows. It is a tough fight to break down, and picking a straight side with complete confidence, it's going to be a tough one in this matchup between Jessica Eye and Cynthia Calvillo.
Yep. Now let's break down each fighter as their own. So let's start with Jessica Eye. Can you break down Jessica Eye as a fighter, as a UFC fighter?
Yeah, Jess is she's been a staple in this division for a while, and she's actually the #1 ranked girl. Not many people talk about that because she got her title shot and she lost. She came against Valentina Shevchenko, who, in my humble opinion, is the best girl in that division and deservingly holding that championship. Now, Jess has been around for a long time, but it's also easy to argue that she's in her prime right now. She came back off a losing streak back in 2016 or 2017, and it was like she came back a new woman. She really did. She's come back and she went on I think it was a 3 or 2 fight win streak, which granted her that title shot. Now, she was knocked out in that title shot, but we can't hold that against Jess because it was Shevchenko. Like the bullet's a killer, and yeah, it's hard to hold that against her. Now, she's 33, not too old. She's fighting out of Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. She's got a strong team around. She's always had a strong team around her, and she's fighting the number 10 ranked fighter in Cynthia Calvillo, which is a big risk. But when you're #1 ranked and you've just lost the title shot, I mean, there's not all that many opportunities for you, especially in the women's divisions where they just don't have a big enough roster to provide these incredibly entertaining fights every week. The experience for Jess is huge, like I've already mentioned. I think when we break this down into hours spent inside the octagon, Jess has spent 5 hours fighting in the octagon against a mere 2 hours for Cynthia. So you can see the experience is huge just by comparing those stats. And as I mentioned, after suffering that 4-fight losing streak, and she took a 2-year break, it was like she went and she really must have just been focusing on the game because she came back and it is the prime of her career. She's 33. I don't think we're going to see a better version of Jessica Eye than what we are seeing right now. And her only loss recently, since that bad streak back in 2016, has only came against the champ, who is one of the best women in the world. So yeah, I was worried about a return, and the return came against Viviana Rujo after that knockout against Shevchenko. I was thinking, do you know what? That might have really damaged her. So I was hesitant, and I think I went against and I took some plus money on Arujo. It went against me. It went against me because I did a good job, even though it was a close bout. She did a great job. And I've been checking out Jessica Roy's Instagram as well, and it's interesting to note that she has put a lot of pictures up in regards to BJJ, and I was wondering, why is she focusing on jiu-jitsu that much? I mean, obviously we know Cynthia's a great grappler and she takes the fight to the floor, but she's not no black belt. She doesn't have no stripes in terms of BJJ. So I was thinking, well, what's going on? Why is she doing this? I soon find out that she's booked in for another fight, Submission Underground, which I believe was the 21st of June. I might be wrong on that date, but I think it's the 21st, which is 2 weeks out. A week or just under 2 weeks out from the fight that she's about to have next week at Fight Night. So Jessica is ready to put some work in, and the pandemic doesn't seem to be stopping her. So she's got a fight Cynthia Calvillo, and then she's going into a Submission Underground fight in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match against a girl whose name I can't remember. But back to her skill set in MMA, we know she can box. Now, if she's focusing on her jiu-jitsu all the time, is she going to have a significant advantage in defending the takedown that Cynthia's so good at? She boxes great, so she's going to keep this on the feet. The fight camp has clearly been focusing on grappling because she doesn't need to focus on the striking. She's not going to evolve into Mike Tyson overnight. She's comfortable where she is in the striking, and I think she is the better striker than Cynthia. When it comes to speed, only time will tell on that one, but when it comes to landing and accuracy, I think Jessica Roy is the more proficient boxer in my opinion. Now, she was taken down by Viviana Rujo, which was a worry. Vivian was able to control that leg and just get her down, but what I did see from is her getting straight back to her feet. She sprawled to her feet pretty quick, so should I be worried about the girl that is moving up a weight class? I'm not too sure. I don't think it's going to be as much of a worry as people may think it will be. So, all in all, Jessica's game plan coming to this fight, although she is practicing in BJJ, I don't think she'll want anything to do with Cynthia, because Cynthia's game plan is probably going to be like it has been in the majority of her fights, bar one, which was with Joanne Calderwood. She decided to stand and strike with the Muay Thai fighter. I don't know why. She still won the fight, but I don't know why she decided to do that. If she does that with and she forgets about her grappling, she's probably going to lose a tight decision. If she attempts her grappling, she could gas herself out and still lose a tight decision. So it is a tough one, but the game plan for Jess, come in, strike, defend that takedown, I believe is the best route for her to take, and just save that BJJ for the tournament that you've got the following week, and just try and get yourself past this number 10 ranked fighter in Cynthia. It's a nine difference gap in the rankings. Like, that's huge. I know it's a different weight class, and in fact, the fact that it's a different weight class is even worse, because if you lose to a fighter who is ranked that low and they're a lighter weight than you, it's not a good look. It really isn't, especially after you've been on a winning streak. So Jess has it all on the line in this one. She's risking it all. Cynthia loses this, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't mean much for her. Jessica has to really grind this one out and avoid the ground game. And that's all I have on the breakdown for Jessica Eye.
All right, well, we just broke down Jessica Eye. That's a great breakdown, by the way. Now let's break down Cynthia Calvillo as a fighter. Give me your take on her.
Yeah. Not as much as a staple as but her name is getting known slowly. Obviously, the pandemic, I go on about this every week, people are accepting all sorts of weight classes, dropping down, going up, fighters are agreeing on catch weights. Now, Cynthia, I believe she's fought once at this weight, and that was a professional mixed martial arts debut, which I was unable to find any tape on. So I don't know how she competes at this weight. I really don't. I went onto her Instagram and I was looking at her body type, and in terms of size, I know it's only a 10-pound difference. I can't really see much on her, and Jess is, I feel like Jess is the wider girl, the stronger girl, and I think she might have the strength advantage. I can't see a girl coming from the lower weight class and then just, ragdolling Jessica Eye around. So, yeah, it will be interesting to know the weight class difference, and I am interested to see how she'll look on the scales on Friday, and if she'll weigh in without any problems. Now, she's never been finished inside the octagon. You watch her fight tape, she loves to grapple. And to be honest, she just likes to tap a girl out. That's what she likes to do. Now, she was humbled by Marina Rodriguez. The fight came up as a draw, which is always a tough one when you bet and you get given the draw. I think sometimes people would rather lose than get the draw, because it's just like, oh, geez. But yeah, she was humbled. She really was, especially in the striking department. Now, her striking has improved since her debut, and it's even improved since she went up against Joanne Calderwood and won a striking battle somehow. But I do think she'll struggle against in that department. I can see these rounds, if we have a fight that is standing between these two girls, I can see the strike count being like a 30 to 15 in favour of because Cynthia just doesn't, striking is not where she wants to take this fight. So we barely see her give enough output before she's attempting a takedown or trying to get a body lock or a single leg or a double leg. Speaking about double legs, she offers a beautiful double leg takedown, which should be a worry for because I suffered a few of them and ended up on her backside because of a few of them double leg takedowns. And Cynthia's only loss came against a strong grappler in the former champion Carla Esparza. So she is legit in the grappling department. She has no background in it. Cynthia started fighting just by default. She started when she was 23, I think, and I remember listening to her in an interview talking about how she just used to beat her brothers up, and that was the only reason why she liked fighting, and that was how she ended up in the gym. It's not like she's been doing jiu-jitsu since she was 4, or she's been striking since she was a teenager, none of that. She picked it all up in her 20s. So when you see Cynthia compete and she's doing these double leg takedowns and tapping girls out, you need to recognize that is just straight toughness. That is just going into the gym saying, I can do this, teach me how to do it, and I'm going to do it. And that's what she's done. Her only loss comes against the former champ Carla Esparza. That's a pretty good record to have. Now she's being gifted an opportunity against the number 1 flyweight at 125 pounds. She's definitely got the better takedowns, that's for sure. The problem she had in her previous bout where she drew, Marina Rodriguez is beautiful at Muay Thai, and she was throwing these knees up the middle, so it was making Cynthia hesitant on shooting in on that. She was not interested in spamming her takedowns as much as she had in previous fights. She's not going to have that trouble with Eye does have leg kicks, but it's just going to be an outside leg kick or a high kick. We're not going to see Jessica Eye throwing knees like a Muay Thai practitioner. That's not going to happen. Now, she's had a lot of close decisions, and this might be where my bet is leading. Decisions. We see it, the female flyweight division, the highest percentage of outcomes is obviously decisions. And both these girls equally love a decision. It's a rough one. It really is. It's really tough. I mean, we look at you were mentioning it before, we went on air that she has a TKO stoppage, but other than that, other than a submission, she hasn't really put anyone out, and I can't see her tapping Cynthia. Now, Cynthia, on the other hand, she's also had a lot of close decisions. And other than her round 1 submission against that girl, Poliana Botello, every fight's been close, real close. Cynthia's been lucky to come out with a lot of her wins in reality. And we have to remember that this was at the strawweight division. She's now taking on the number 1 flyweight. And yes, I know Jessica Eye hasn't put on the most impressive performances, but when it comes to grit, toughness, this is just going to be a fight. That's what this is going to be. And coming to a conclusion has been real tough for me. But yeah, not much else to say on Cynthia. She's a tough girl, man, and so is I. It's going to be a great fight, I think.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. But okay, so on to the next question. You did mention that about how Cynthia likes tapping girls out with a submission. So with this fight with Jessica Ai, do you think she can get that submission, or how do you think this fight is going to end? Do you think it'll go to a decision, or give me your take on this fight?
Yeah, I think if you've been listening to me so far, I think this question's answered. It's going to go. I think it's going to go to a decision. If anybody's more likely to get the finish, probably Cynthia by submission. But I'm saying that with a lack of confidence. I mean, I was looking at Ai yesterday, and she was a slight underdog. The public had moved her to a slight underdog. They're a pick'em now, but it's the experience of Ai that I can't get out of my head. I've not saw Calvillo at this weight. Yes, Jessica can be taken down, but I don't think Calvillo can hold her there. My confidence isn't high, obviously, as you can tell. But I think this will be very similar to Calvillo's previous fight. Not in terms stylistically or opponent. I just think it's going to be a very close decision. Much like the Esparza fight, much like all Calvillo's fights. She's been real lucky, and some of these unanimous decisions really should have been split. She's struggled with... I watch Calvillo and I see her struggle with holding the smaller girls down in the strawweight division. And then I think Jessica Ai, flyweight division, yes, she does get taken down, but she does get back up and she's getting taken down by heavier girls. So it's just hard for me to put Jessica Ai as even look at her as a dog or think about them prices. I think the value is all on Ai if you were able to get her at plus money in terms of a side. But right now at a pick'em, it is what it says on the tin. It's a 50-50. And I think we're going to see a decision victory from Jessica Ai next weekend at the Apex Center.
All right, so I think you made it pretty clear for my next question is who your top pick would be. I'm assuming you're going to go with Jessica Ai, correct?
Yeah, it's bad for Calvillo, but at the same time, I mean, look, we can sit here and I can make arguments all day, and that's exactly why the bookmaker is winning. The bookmaker's winning with this fight. They've got it at a pick-em. They're gonna win. It doesn't matter. So it's all down to you and your personal handicapping skills, really. It's if you feel you can see value in this fight anywhere. And when it comes to hunting value on this fight, unless you're getting Jessica Ai at dog money, you're going to have to be looking to props. You're going to have to be looking at the overs, which are not available right now. And trust me, they're going to be really juiced. But as I say all the time, if you can find two juicers and put them together and get that plus money, they cash a lot more often than people like to say they don't. There's a reason why you get these percentages. There's a reason why probability hits 80 and 90%. It's because 80 and 90% is going to happen. So, yeah, I think the over is the way for this fight. And if you put in a gun to my head, Jessica Ai by decision.
All right. So if you do want to get in on this fight via BetOnline, Jessica Ai is -105 and Cynthia Calvillo is -115. So thank you, Dave, so much for dropping knowledge and for giving us your time, like always. If you aren't following Dave on Twitter, definitely give him a follow at DaveManyun_. And if you're not following SBR on Twitter, definitely give us a follow at SBR SportsPicks, as well as on Instagram at SBR SportsPicks. And also, don't forget, like and subscribe our YouTube page. That way you never miss a show and you can get updates regarding new content. All right, thank you so much again, Dave. Like always, it was truly a pleasure. So until next time.